Well, howdy, y'all, and welcome to another high-powered episode of the High Voltage Live Show. I'm your host, Willie Snyder, Nat King Code, coming to you live from the Mile High City in Denver, Colorado. I'm joined by my awesome co-host, Mr. King James Stalkup, over there in Big Sky Country, Texas, giving old hook 'em horns from the old Mile High City, and I really appreciate all the participation I had this week with Nat King Code, and I really appreciate you putting these together, James. Means a lot, and like I said, we had a lot of really good discussion this week. I got a lot of people involved. I'm actually gonna turn this one into a Nat King Code Spotify podcast, and I have a bunch of different angles on this one, so I think y'all enjoy that. And James has some really awesome news about his learning management system he wants to tell us about.
Oh yeah. We've been working on the courses, and we've pretty much on the learning management system. We're real close to having. We're waiting on the journeyman to be finished and the masters, and then we'll be putting them on where we'll have the PDFs on there, and we'll also have the PDFs also with the presentation on there for the instructor series. Everything else we've already done up to that point of all the new publications. It's ready to go.
Right.
And I showed that, 2 weeks ago. The other thing that's been going on, we've been working on the courses, the online courses. And I'm going to share a screen here so everybody can see just exactly what we've been doing. And it's been quite a bit. Matter of fact, I'm going to put this in preview mode so everybody can see this. So when you come over and you get one of the courses, this is basically, you'll have a heading here. And then we have a little write-up here about everything that you're going to be covering. This particular one that we're working on first off is designing wiring methods. This will be part of the calculation course. And you can start right up here at the start where it says start course, or you can even come down here and click one of these. This will be an open course. Now, when it's something for the states and continue, you just can't come down here and click. These will be listed. You can only start at the first one. Everything has to be tracked. And so therefore you'll have to go and, but open courses like this, just click here and it'll bring it up, and then you'll have your course. Now, I tell everybody, go check out the competition, check out and see what's there and everything. You'll be able to really see the difference in what we're putting into these courses. Now, in an open course like this, over here on the left-hand side, you'll see me click this. These are all your lessons. Okay? It's a free floating bar. You can come in here and click anything you want to see. Now, one of the things that we're doing at the first of this, of course, we have an intro telling you about stock defense, electrical education. This is the course you'll be covering, which is designing wiring methods. We have a little write-up about it. Then we sort of talk about the educators and stuff about us putting it together and everything. Then the next part that's going to be important is course design and application. Now, we tell you about all the interactivity here. And when I say it's on another level, it is. And we tell you about all the different things here. Now, what's going to happen is this is going to be important here, because we're going to have click by click sections through here that I'm going to have little videos. There won't be any audio. We're just going to show you how you click through things, go back and forth and all of that. And then there will be another one here where you're dealing with the calculations. And then we'll have another where you're dealing with the multiple choice questions with the answer key and everything. Okay? Right. So that gets you started on all this. Then you'll come in, and then it's almost like having a publication, but with audio and interactivity and all of that. So This will be the intro opening to the designing wiring methods. Then you'll click through that, and then you're going to come to your first portion. Now, this is where we're going to be sizing round or octagonal boxes that are the same size and different size conductors. And I've been doing a lot of studying and research on interactivity in courses, and they talk about reinforcing. And in other words, if you do something over and over enough, you're gonna know. So
Yeah, kind of like you were saying about the flashcards and stuff.
yeah, this is almost sort of like and I actually have three of them in this, and I'm just going to show you all the different exercises. But one of the things you're going to notice, we also have a little NEC icon here. These are tips here. These are things that you want to pay attention to. These are quick hits for you to think about. So
Okay.
when you're coming down through here, we'll have little exercises like this. Now you'll notice.
Oh, he's got a lemon head in there.
Yeah, you can't continue here. Okay, you got to come in here and you got to work the problem. So this one here will ask you a question, and it'll ask select the number, count for splice conductors, where you have one count for each one of them. So we'll go to that, and they'll get a happy sign showing you did it right. Okay. Then you're going to come down, and then we get into conductor fill. And as you're going through this, we just add all kinds of different things for you to look at. So like this one, you're going to come in, we're going to tell you conductors passing through the box unbroken, you count them as one conductor. Come through here, you got a loop or coil, you count them as two conductors. Come through here, you have splice conductors, once again, we tell you one conductor. Okay, just reinforcement as you're going through this. Now, one of the things that'll happen, and this is a good one where we're getting into conductor fill, there's two types here. You're doing same size or different size conductors. Well, we were counting the conductors here, but we're also going to tell you here you need to go look and review table 314.16b, because when you have different size conductors, you have to do it by cubic inch. So as you go look at this table, I'll just do this in wrong, for instance. I'll just say number 12 is 2.25, even though, see, told me I'm wrong. So now I come over here, drag it here, then I drag it over here, and you'll see the check mark, and you've got 2 of 2 cards correct now. But you'll notice it said 1 or 2 because I missed the first one, so I can replay this again. So I'm going to redo it this time. So I'll come over here, put it here, then it'll tell you I'm 2 of 2 cards correct. Okay? So I'm going to continue the next one. This next one, I got another one, methods of counting conductors, and I didn't change this one here. But this one here, I'm just going to say 1. It's going to tell me I'm wrong, and you'll see that disappointed you missed it. Okay? You can try again if you want to, but I'm going to move forward because there's some other things I want to look at here. Now, we also did some drag and drop here. So if I'm looking at this and I'm looking at 1 conductor here, I know it goes to cable clamps. I'm looking at 2 conductors, I know it's going to go to my looper coil here. So I'm going to go here, and then I'll drag this, and of course that. For the pigtails, bonding jumpers, no conductors, they'll tell me I got all of them correct. Okay?
Nice.
Then you're going to come down here. Then we give you 3 choices here to answer this. We're asking how many conductors required. We added the conductor count for a stud and hickey. Use one of the answers below. Now, this is sort of a trick question because you have a stud and hickey. Each one of them count as 1, but we're telling you count for both of them. So this in here, I would take and put 2 conductor counts. So you just tap that in. It'll recognize that you did it right, and it'll tell you got that correct. Okay? Then you're going to come in device or equipment fill, and we're just doing a little chart here showing you conductor counts here. Well, we went to the highest count here because the yoke or strap here, where you're supporting a receptacle switch or pilot light here, counts as 2 conductors. Okay? Then this one is really a good one, because what I did here, and these things take time to put this stuff together, but I think everybody will really like it, is we give you a tip here, but right down below this, we give you a quick chart here for you to know what the items are to be counted here. So like here, we added an additional information at the bottom, and we tell you once you get over 4 conductors, when you're doing the equipment grounding conductor count, you have to do a quarter allowance on this. So you would have to take the remaining conductors and take them at 0.25 and add it to that. As we go through this, you'll see these as we're doing the calculations and stuff. Now, What'll happen here is then we'll go in and we'll do the first one, which is same size conductors. We actually give you an example problem, and we show you step by step how to do this. Everything in orange is what you want to look at in order to do these counts and determine that box size. Then after that, we come in and we give you a calculation here that you can actually work. Now, as I was talking about the other day, you can just come over here to the box, click on it, and put a count in there. Now, one thing I just noticed today as I was putting this together, the count didn't show up right. Something's not fully, it's there, but it's not showing up fully. So I'm going to fix that. I don't know what caused that, but I'm going to figure it out. Then,
that was a pretty good idea I had to fill in the blank there.
Yeah, that turned out to be fantastic what we've done there. And then right here, as you're going through doing these conductor counts, you can also click over here. We put it in order for the NEC loop. So you can just click this section over here, and here's your section, and you can go in and review this, okay? And then you just hit return to go back. And then if you want to look at the table, here's the table here for sizing the boxes, which is there in step 2, okay? So that takes you, and then as you look at this, here is set up with the answer key here, okay? So you can check your answers to be sure you did it correctly. Then we come through and do a video here. I'll play this real quick. Now, as you're going through this, we go through and explain everything that's there in detail. So as I'm going through this, you'll notice here that
inch 3 capacity rating. The column for the maximum number of conductors arranged by AWG size shall be used when the conductors are the same size. The appropriate inch 3 capacity column shall be applied for combination conductors in the same box. Conductors passing through.
Now that right there, what we do is we go through and re-emphasize all this again with the text. And then one of the other cool things is, as you're coming down through here, we also have that example problem we went through, and we go through, give you some extra things if there's something you need to know, you know, because you know how I'm always doing tips and stuff, and giving rule of thumbs. We actually explain a lot of this as we go through. Now, as we're going through this, anywhere on here, you can click right here, and you can click the sections in the video. So you can go in and check everything we're telling you here, okay? And then as you roll down through this, then we get over here, and as we're explaining it, you'll see the values are populated. So we go through in detail what it is. Now, one of the other cool features is if you want to look at some of those wiring tips we had there, all you have to do is just come over to these icons, just hover above them, and it'll give you these quick wiring tips. So everything is re-emphasized over and over throughout the course. Now, as you do that, then you come down and you're still in round and optical boxes. We're just doing different size conductors here. And you'll notice we have everything step by step here, showing you how to do it. And then you go straight into doing your exercise problem again. Okay? So that is going to be the new setup course. And if you want to look and say, well, you'll see some of the exact same things in there. Say I was going to go to a device box. Here you'll have that, and we'll go through the exact same steps again. Because some may come on here and not go through the whole course. They just may want to, they may have the course once they purchase it. They have it from then on. They may want to go back and just look at sizing square boxes or a device box or something. All of that information will be over here on the side that gives them quick access. So that is going to be our new online course layout.
Nice. So, thanks a lot, everyone, for smashing the like tonight. Really appreciate it. And like I say, I'm telling you, James, you just got to be prepared, because there could be somebody that has something better that might just post up there. So I just don't want you to be surprised. Like, never know. I mean, there's There's a lot of stuff out there. We'll see. I mean, we get a lot of pinky promises that they're gonna post something, and
Oh, and one other thing I'll say, I'll have that exact same course that will also come in an instructor series. And the difference with it is the presentation will be with that. So the instructor can just go to the presentation portion, and while they're studying out of that, he can be teaching off the presentation and showing her, he can use the video, whatever he wants to do. We're given all kinds of options, and we feel, because we get a lot of newer and newer instructors in the community all the time, and since that's the case, this is a great instruction tool because it's like instructing the instructor, but yet he can go back after he's gone through the course and he can add his own little flair to it also. And that's another cool thing is let me pull this up. I think I'm not sure if I got it set where I can do that. If I don't, I won't mess with it, but let me just see.
and as an instructor, you're technically not modifying anything.
That's correct. Let's see here. Of course, should be able to. Yeah. So let's just say I go here. This is for looks here. So once this is here and everything, you'll notice you've got all this set here. And when they go over and they go to the course right here, I'll have this listed here. So right here, you would have the generators, transformers, motor publication, for instance. And then below it, I would have instructor presentation that they can click straight to it. They don't have to do it within the course unless they want to. Okay.
Nice.
So when I'm showing all of this, all of these little things have been taken into consideration to make it as simple as we can for the instructors and the students. So gives them a lot of variables.
One thing I will say that I really liked doing like some of your example problems is it gives me that confidence. Like there's a lot of times where I was like a little shaky with different size conductors and figuring out which size pipe you need. Because I know you did that one, you mixed it all up. It was 10 gauge and 12 gauge and 14 gauge and all these different sizes in there, and I didn't have that confidence before, to just go in there and look up the circular mill and get it all added up and then figure out what size conduit you need for 60%, 40%, that kind of stuff. And it meant a lot for me to have that confidence where it's like nothing scares me now. Like I go in there and I just blasted through the Ohm's Law portion on my NISAT 2 test, just easy as cake. You know what I mean? It's just
and it's like I say, you go look at a lot of the other publications out there. I can tell you because I review them all. What's our competition? That's part of what we do, and I can tell you they'll show you maybe one calculation. And expect you remember, we actually will show you two different types, and we go through step by step. All of them I've seen, I hadn't even seen any of them do this, but most of them will just say, you got a step here, and they just go down and show you calculate. They don't give you the sections, tables, or nothing. You got to figure out. We actually put the sections, tables, and everything. Everything you need to think about's there. And one of the other things I like more than anything that's in the online course is over on the side. We have the NEC loop there, and all you have to do is just click one after another, followed by the steps. It's lined up by the steps, and you can check those sections as you're going and know that you're in the right sequence to check everything. So it's very detailed, and it does take time to put all that text in there and have all the layering and everything to go back and forth and do all the things we're doing. But the other features I like is where we're doing the interactivity where you answer questions as you're working down through it, because I think it helps reinforce your learning capabilities. So that's what we're coming up with here. I tell everybody, get ready. It's coming. So.
Oh yeah. Dude, like, I have a bunch of people that are like trash talking about the death match already, so it's gonna be awesome when it comes on. I can't wait.
Yeah, about November is about what I'm looking at. If it's, I I know it's going to be at least November because we've got a lot of stuff that's being done right now. But I will say this: when it comes out, and all the things that we're going to come out with as one package to start off, you won't have all the online courses, but you're going to have a majority of them on there. And the first ones we're going to do, which everybody wants more than anything, I get a lot of message from people is they want calculations. So we're definitely doing all the calculations first, and the journeyman and master prep exams. We're going to get those on first, then we'll do the generator, transformer, compressor. Then I'll do the grounding, lightning protection. Then after that, we'll start coming out with the design stuff, working on that. And there'll be so many choices. I mean, you can just go in there, pick what you want, and have fun.
Nice.
So that's it.
Well,
that's what we're doing.
Well, I do have a little disclaimer for the meme this week. I'm gonna pick on Wagos a little bit, but like I say, I think Wagos kind of get a bad name and everything, but I don't know. It's still a pretty funny meme.
Okay, let's cue it up.
I think that stuff's so funny. It really cracks me up, all the hate that Wagos get, and I think a lot of times what people do is they lump the Wagos all into one category, and there's a pretty big difference between like the German-made company and some of the other foreign brands that get called Wagos, but they're not, and stuff like that. But it's pretty funny. And like I say, I was blown away how that chick, she made a lot of money off merchandise in a short amount of time. So it got pretty popular. Yeah. But I really appreciate all the participation, and one of our followers actually sent me the myth of the week this week, wanted me to cover it, so I went ahead and did it. So I think you all are gonna like it this week.
All right, let's roll it.
It's time for Myth of the Week.
Alright, well, I had a lot of fun doing the myth this week. I think James was probably a little surprised when he saw it because this kind of came out of left field. And like I say, I think this picture is actually kind of funny. Like, I don't know, James, if you'd actually pass something like that, if you saw that out in the field. Looks a little funky. But the myth of the week, number 116, true or false, duct seal can be used as a barrier on energized parts on a service bus bar or service terminals to prevent inadvertent contact by persons' maintenance equipment while servicing. The load terminations with the service disconnect in the open position, which would actually mean that the only thing that's going to be hot is those line side terminals. And that would be the reason for the barrier. I thought this was kind of interesting. Like I say, obviously this thing's probably out there working, and it probably didn't blow up or anything. So obviously it actually does work. But if you go in, you actually going to have UL standard number 67. And I want to give a big shout out to David Engelhart for providing technical information on that per UL 67 they're required to provide you with line side barriers, and I guess this is pretty much only when you have like in a service entrance situation. And I want to say this is out at like some kind of like RV park or some kind of trailer park type situation. So I guess it was a situation where these service disconnects didn't come with any kind of line side barriers. And from what my understanding is that the inspector allowed him to do that. So the inspector saw that as a adequate solution. And I guess the duct seal is rated at 1,000 volts. And I want to have a big shout out to Justin Gibbs for providing the information on the duct seal. And like I say, it was kind of interesting too when Justin pulled that up. It says not for use in outdoor use. And I almost always see it as outdoor use. I like almost every time I've seen duct seal, it's some type of outdoor installation that we're sealing up or something like that. We do use it from time to time indoors, but I would say that not necessarily outdoor, but a lot of times we use it at freezers and stuff like that, so it's kind of interesting. But the myth is actually false. You cannot use duct seal and violate the UL standard. The listing and labeling of the equipment does not allow you to use duct seal as an approved method of creating this barrier, regardless if the code does not specifically prohibit it. So I thought it was a pretty interesting one. I got a lot of people's take on it this week, and especially your take, James. I liked your take. I was trying to get you to let me slide on it, but it didn't seem like you're having it.
Well, when you told me last night, I was like, "What's the myth on again?" And I said, and you were telling me, yeah, they you asked on one of somebody's podcast something, and they were trying to look it up. I said, hell, you don't have to look that up. I said that goes to the listing and labeling of equipment. I said
Sure.
that's not something that's in the code. All it gets into, and I'm going to show you in a minute, where it deals with barriers. I said, and as far as the barrier goes, it's if that equipment is listed and labeled for that barrier. I said, you just can't go in and modify equipment and stuff. And I said, duct seal is not a barrier. And
Right.
So we had discussed all of that, and then you had sent over from Justin Gibbs. Look there, Justin, I gave you credit, so don't say I didn't.
Exactly.
But it goes in and it talks about the compound here, and it has its properties and all that you can look at, and the flash points and all of that. So, I mean, you can go in and look at what it's rated for, but that is not where you really want to look. Where you want to look is in this part here where it talks about uses. And it tells you that the duct sealing compound is used primarily by the building and specifically by the electrical trade to seal around electrical boxes, fittings, and service mass entries. And
Sure.
As a barrier, okay?
Right.
And this is where you really want to look at. And, this goes back to stuff I said before. When they're looking at this and they're giving listing and labelings on there, if they were going to allow you to do that, they would have looked at the code and referenced the code and saying that it could be used that way. And you'll notice it's not in here. So
True, and I know a lot of people. I was trying to kind of play devil's advocate in the chat to kind of because a lot of people say, well, it's not listed for the purpose. But if you look at 230.62C, it doesn't say must be a listed compound. It doesn't say must be a listed barrier. So to my point, you could say, well, does it have to be listed fiberglass? Does it have to be listed metal? That because they actually say metal could be a barrier. They had all these different examples of things that could be a barrier. But at the same time, if that's the case, then those barriers would actually be identified by the manufacturer as suitable for use as that.
Well, they even have in the NFPA enhanced content. They go in and they talk about it. You have to work on it while it's energized, and they tell you to refer to the 7E document. And then that second sentence says, barriers provide physical separation. So in other words, it provides adequate distance or an obstacle between the load terminals and the service bus bar terminals. And that's where I'm getting into this, is because you've got to have something that's in there that is a physical separation. And I don't believe that putting some duct seal on there is exactly what they had in mind when they were looking at a physical separation. Plus, if you're putting a barrier in there that's a physical type barrier for separation, I believe that barrier, you have to have a piece of equipment that's set up that will accept that barrier. If you don't, I think you're breaking the listing and labeling of the equipment, because now you're coming inside that equipment and you're modifying it. Okay? And that's something you don't go in and do to equipment, is modify it. So that would be one that I would look at, and I would say that it has to be listed and labeled for you to put that barrier in there. I don't think you can just go in and put a barrier in there. Now, you can take and have, because they do a lot of this in the oil field, that they'll go in and they can't get certain equipment, and they'll come in and design a piece of equipment and they want to put a barrier in there, and you can be the authority having jurisdiction that takes responsibility of that equipment as approved, or you can have a third party come in, which they'll do a UL 508 and a 508 shop on this, and then they take and put a field installed label on it saying that the equipment is okay to put that barrier in. So if you have an old piece of equipment, you want them barriers, you can be the facility taking responsibility for it because you modified that equipment, or have a third party come in and give you and look at the equipment and give you a field installed label. Okay?
Yeah, and like if I was gonna do something like that, I would probably use like Bakelite. We had enough stuff out there, that like enough old gear and stuff with mounting brackets and different kinds of stuff, that we could have made a pretty nice Bakelite barrier. And we wouldn't just be limited to stuff like duct seal. One of the Tommy D, big shout out to Tommy D, he mentioned a lot of when the testing they deal with a lot of heat, and that duct seal wouldn't be tested with the heat, and that would actually kind of cause a lot of extra, I would say, heat buildup in those terminals that might not be involved in that testing process, because those terminals are actually an open air environment when they're doing that testing, and so that could be something that's detrimental to your connection too. And as Tommy D says, we don't want to have an unintentional rapid disassembly in the field.
Sure. So, I agree.
But I really appreciate the gentleman who sent me that. He wanted to remain anonymous, and I really appreciate it. You remained anonymous, and everyone loved it. And like I say, you can continue doing what you do, brother. And like I say, if the inspector signs off on it and they say it's good to go, then it passes, and more power to you. But I thought it was really awesome to have a picture of it actually out in the field working. And like I say, it was kind of funny how much duct seal was kind of built up on there. Like, there was a lot of comments saying we've already covered this myth with the skillful and professional manner. And like I said, I was joking around with my crew, and I was like, what if I carved little freaking pillars and little columns on it and made it like a little statue, it would have been all right then, like, so I would have had my skill in there, and so it was pretty funny. And I really appreciate everyone, all the comments. I hit 52,000 this week, and that was really awesome. So meant a lot, and I had a lot of really good comments. So a lot of intelligent individuals out there. I appreciate all the comments this week.
All right. Let's roll on into topic of the week. I think there for a second what we were doing next.
Yeah.
Cue it up. All right. Well, this week we're finishing up what was in Chapter 4, and then we're going to get into some in Chapter 5. Now, some of these are not really big changes, but there is some clarification that did take place here, as you can see by looking at this. And what they did, they basically took out of A and moved down to C, and they modified a little bit here to improve some clarity for this.
Is this in 440?
445.13, this is generators.
Oh, it's hard to see. You should probably, when you do these, like move them down a little.
Yeah, I'll move them
blocks.
down a little bit.
Got the one that I thought was a big change that I really stuck out to me was that 404 or 406 one.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a big one. We'll probably have about 5-6 illustrations in that one, just to go through
Nice.
and where everybody knows where everything moved and where it changed and everything. Now, one of the things they did do here, which I've said this for a long time, when I'd be out teaching generators, they referenced 250.30A. I said, where they really need to reference this, and if you go back and you look when we're going through these separately derived and non-separately derived systems, we would reference 250.30A, but we also reference 250.35. And you'll see here they've made that reference and changed it to 250.35 because that really goes in and covers both separately derived and non-separately derived systems. Okay. And then the other thing I think was interesting, and I've noticed they've been doing this a lot for 2 cycles, up in the heading, they changed it where it's got conductors. They got rid of ampacity conductors, and now they call it minimum ampacity and size. And if you go over and look at 210.19A1, 210.20A, 215.2A, 215.3, and 230.42A1A2, you'll see it's over there. It deals with minimum ampacity and size. So they did change the heading language to match up with those articles.
Is 240.21B, is that the tap rules?
240.21B gets into the taps, and 240.21C deals with the transformer secondary conductors.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, and then this one is where they're getting into converters. This is where you're getting into 455.3, and I thought this was important because they did make some changes here. And you'll notice they got rid of other articles here referring you back. They're specifically here dealing with reconditioned phase converters, and they're telling you that they shall not be installed, period. So, and we'll probably do a few of these because they did go in, and especially when I get over and look at hazardous, you're going to see quite a bit of stuff that took place for reconditioned equipment that you're going to have to look at. But you'll notice especially the last cycle, there was a lot of recondition that they come in and did in different articles. Well, now what they're doing is they're coming in and they're telling you that there's nothing out there that's an established safety standard or requirements that are put in place to allow you to recondition these. Until they have a standard allowing that, you're gonna see that certain equipment's not gonna be allowed to recondition unless there's a standard put in place for it.
There's probably not enough money in it, or Willie Jackerson would already be doing it.
Yeah. Now, this one was not really a big deal, but this is where you're getting into 480.14, and they are dealing with overcharge control, and they're basically just telling you when you have these batteries here that they're telling you have to have provisions in place to prevent the batteries from being becoming overcharged. Okay.
True.
Now that they've always done that, but there was nothing that was in the code that specifically addressed it. So they come in and just right it wrong, I guess you could say. They just put something in there that's telling you, yeah, you can't overcharge those batteries. All right. Now,
Okay.
this one is where we're going to get in, and this is 495. Basically, what they did is this is where we used to go when we'd look at Article 250. Okay. Well, what they've done now is they've come in and they've added here in 495.26 A and B about the ground where grounding switches are installed, and this is for your equipment that's over 1,000 volts. Okay.
Right.
So they get in, talk about the interlocking. There's an exception there, and then they also talk about the sign that's to be put in there. And when you're looking at the sign, of course, they're going to refer you, and we've done this on a few that have already taken place up to this point, where we're referring back to 110.21B. And
Right.
if you look at this all falls back to where? 70E. Because
I was gonna
we
say.
get into the signage and all of that stuff and talk about the color coding and everything that's here. So if it was a warning that you're putting there, of course, it's an orange. If you were just giving a signal, then it would be yellow. And then, of course, if it was danger, you'd do it in red. Okay?
Tempo.
So these are the things they're telling you here. And they're telling you here that the sign that you're putting in here, that it can be filled or factory installed. Okay?
Right.
Now, more than likely, what's going to happen, you're going to see it filled installed, because if there's for some reason you had to get in there and work on it or whatever, you know, this is your main switch gear. You go and look at 110.24, there was a big change took place there, talking about having the available fault current and all these other items. Well, this is tying in with that. Okay.
Nice.
So this is a change that just took place dealing with the grounding switches. And then we get it, that was all in chapter 4. Then we get in to our hazardous locations. This is 500.5D where they made a change here. And what they did here is to make it clear that where you have metal combustible fibers or flangs, they have to be in quantities that are present in order for them to be considered hazardous. Okay? And that's what they're talking about here. And I want to point out here, these are in quantities that makes it hazardous, and it doesn't matter if it's in a normal or abnormal operating condition.
Oh.
Okay? So these metal dusts are combustible. All right? And what happens a lot of times is you'll have in these factories, they'll have a crew that's put together that does nothing, that goes in there and just cleans up the area. And in other words, they try to keep it from caking up too much, because you get too much on there, then what'll happen, then closures get hotter. Okay?
Sure.
So that deals with dust and all that. So that's another thing you need to go, in this case, you would go look at NFPA 499 to help correlate with this. So when you look at our code change publication, it'll be coming out for 2026. We will correlate this with some different NFPA 499 standards, because it deals with your dust and fibers and flames.
Right.
Okay. Now, this is a big change here that they took place in, and I just want to go over and show you here. This comes in, and what they're telling you, that they took the Dot 30 sections that were in parts 1 and part 6 of Article 250. All of that's been moved over here. Okay? And they tell you here, they say additionally, based on 90.3, chapters 5 through 7 can only supplement or modify chapters 1 through 4. Okay?
Right.
Now, you've heard me talk about that before. So
Mm-hmm.
what they did is to make sure that the parent text that they revised here is in compliance with the bonding and grounding requirements that are in Chapter 2. Okay?
Oh,
So,
gotcha.
so when you look at this, they get into A and they talk about your specific bonding means and the type of lock nuts and stuff that you can use here. And they talk about you have a lock nut bushing, you got double lock nut types of contacts, and they tell you here they shall not be depended on for what? Bonding. Okay.
And so we're in what, 503? Is this one?
No,
What
this
is
is
this one?
500.30 here.
Oh, gotcha.
And as you get in and you start looking at all of this, it gets in and gets in to your specific bonding when you have flexible metal and liquid type flexible metal conduit. Okay?
Right.
So all of this is bonding that we were already applying, but what they've done now, they've moved it over here in the 500 series. Okay?
Right.
So everybody's going to, but you'll see, just like give you an example here. If I look at B2 down there and look at one, blister type, liquid type, flexible metal conduit, 6 foot or length, 6 foot or less in length. See there? With fittings listed for grounding. You go and you look in Article 250, can you, in 250.118.6 or 7, can you pick that up there? Sure. It gets into your overcurrent protections, limit 10 amps or less. It goes through all of that stuff. Okay?
Right.
Now, the next one that they did, which is a very big one, this gets into recondition of equipment, and you really need to look at this because they're telling you which type of reconditioned equipment is permitted in hazardous classified locations. And it tells you that if they're going to be allowing you to do reconditioning, it has to be conducted, listen to this, in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. And if no instructions are provided, you have to use a NERDL, a national recognized testing laboratory. That
Doesn't this reference override the manufacturer's instructions?
Well, like I said, that I've gone over these manufacturer's instructions time and time again, why they're so important. And when you look at stuff like this is where you're in hazardous areas. So it's very important that you know that you can use the manufacturer's instructions if they allow recondition. If not, then you can come in and have a third party come in. And that's where I was talking about the field applied labels and stuff, which perfectly rolled in with the myth of the week this week.
True.
Okay.
And one thing, we had a question from David over on Facebook side asking if this would correlate with NFPA 70B. I know that there's the one about, I think maybe he's referring to maintenance with cleaning up the metal shavings.
It does.
And stuff.
It's part of your maintenance of equipment. And that's one of the things that we do is anybody that's ever used one of our publications knows we could be doing this change and we'll say you need to look at NFPA 49. We probably put NFPA 70E back on the one we were talking about. We'd give you the section there to look at. There'd probably be 2 sections there we would look at. Then we would go in, I think there's about 3 sections I would look at there in NFPA 499. And then we would tie the maintenance portion of it because of cleaning and stuff like that in 70B. Okay?
Good question, David. I appreciate it.
And then if you look at your reconditioned motors or generators, they come in and they tell you that you can have these reconditioned, but they have to be listed as reconditioned. Okay? True. So when they're installed or reinstalled in a hazardous classified location. So this goes through and just tells you some of the things to look at as far as dealing with a motor or generator. And then it gets in, talks about one that has explosion-proof construction features. You'd look at that, and it talks about when it's removed from service for repairs, including replacement of failed bearing. So it goes through and tells you some stuff. Then you get your intrinsically safe equipment down here, and it says replacement of printed circuit board assemblies or modules with like components provided the original manufacturer shall be permitted. So if you're going to change something out, it has to be from that manufacturer. You just can't use somebody else's board. Okay?
True.
And then it gets into intrinsically safe equipment. It just tells you it's not permitted at all here to use intrinsically safe, but I can if it's from the original manufacturer.
True.
Okay.
Yeah, and like I say, to David's point, a lot of these changes are actually to correlate with different standards, to correlate with 70E, to make 70E correlate with 70B, and kind of create this little triangle between the different standards so that they all kind of make sense, and we all are kind of following a modified standard that is all cohesive across all the different fields that we're in, whether we're in manufacturing, done a lot of industrial, and they just don't want anything falling through the cracks,
Sure. And this one's a pretty good, and this is 501, I think it's 130 if I'm not mistaken, or I think it's 130. But this particular one, this is getting into retrofit kits. Now, when they just didn't have it over here, so they added it. But when you're putting these type of kits in, they have to be listed and labeled for a hazardous classified location, first and foremost. And they also tell you here that when you're putting these retrofit kits in, that they're not going to alter the area of the classification. Okay? Now, one of the things I would point out here is when you get into C1 and it talks about modification, okay? And it says modification of existing luminaires to change the lamp type, such as for light-emitting diodes, LEDs. It says shall be permitted using retrofit kits listed for the location and suitable for field installation in luminaires according with the instructions provided. Now, one of the things, and I can go down the next one too, but the main thing I want to point out here is they're telling you you have to consult the instructions, the manufacturer's instructions. Now, we've done 3 of these already, and if you pay real close attention, you're noticing they're really keying in on the manufacturer's instructions.
Right.
Okay? So this is one that people need to pay attention to. We'll have some good things in here put in about this one too. But the other thing I would point out here is when you get down to 3.3 down below it, it says that it also has to identify the manufacturer's name and replacement lamp type model to be used. So they're making absolutely sure when you're using these that you know that the manufacturer's name, so you can check those instructions to make sure you're using the right type or model that you're going to replace with here. Okay?
Right.
All right. And that gets me through this week on the changes for 2026.
Oh man, guess who just popped in, man? We got old Justin Gibbs popped in. He said he missed the myth answer. And he says, was duct seal an acceptable barrier or not? And it was funny because he was going to Western Section meeting for IEI, and he's all, any questions I should ask him? And I said, it was duct seal an acceptable barrier? And he said he got laughed out of the room when he asked that question. So I appreciate you asking, Justin. It was pretty funny.
All right, you want to get your tool in before we get to the thing, or to Willie Quiz? All right,
do it up.
Yep.
It's time for Tool Review of the Week. Sponsored by Electricians Only Tool Review and Nipex Tradesman.
So, I really appreciate everyone joining the tool review of the week. And this week I'm covering Klein. And like I say, a lot of people dog on Klein testing. I've actually been really impressed with a lot of their stuff recently. They must be using some different company to like make their testing equipment. This is the actual breaker finder. And like I say, this isn't the one that a lot of people use where they plug it in and then they hit the switch and trip the breaker. We actually had an incident one time where it was an HVAC guy, and he would just, if he couldn't find the circuit, he'd just trip it. And so it was really funny because it was in like a mall. And he tripped it, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, just come find the breaker." And I couldn't find it. I mean, I looked all over, I couldn't find it. So it must have blown apart somewhere in the wall or something, or somewhere in a J box. I couldn't find a trip breaker, and so we end up having to repeat the circuit. So you kind of want to watch out when you're. A lot of people think that that's okay to just trip the breaker like that, which it might work out for you for a while, but then. We ended up charging them a whole bunch of money to have to go run a whole new circuit because it wasn't us that tripped the breaker and shorted it out inside the wall. Yeah. But so that's kind of a dangerous thing to do. I wouldn't recommend doing the shorting it out breaker finder. But this is a really good alternative to that. And like I say, it worked really good. Found the circuit right away. And like I say, a lot of these have a negative aspect. They have kind of like almost like a backfeed, and they don't work that great on 3-phase. But it's just kind of like the necessary evil that you have to go through when you're using these kind of products. And like I say, it worked great for me, and found the breaker on the first try, so it was a piece of cake. So
it is recommended.
Yes, I like it. And like I say, I think Klein gets a lot of bad rap, especially the testing stuff, because you get a lot of false readings. But overall, I haven't had too much issues with the Klein testing equipment. I have a Klein meter that I use, and like my cousin told me to like throw it in the trash, and it was just like I took it with a grain of salt, and just it still works for me. I mean, like I say, it won the resistor drag race, the meter drag race. So like we actually put it to the test and see which meter can go faster, and I beat a Fluke 87. So with my Klein, so we actually proved it. Remember that?
Yep, I remember. I do.
But
so look at the question of the week. See what you got for me this week. Then we'll
it's easy. It's easy. Slam dunk.
Let's see. What vertical is that? Oh hell, I'd have to look this up. That's what, table 300.19A, I think. Golly.
I thought you might have memorized it maybe, but I don't know.
I would say it's around 60 or 80. God, yeah, you'd have to look this one up. Man, I'm guessing at this one.
Well, isn't that the point of the question of the week?
Yeah.
Is you're supposed to do it off the top of your head? You can't look it up?
Yeah. This is one of them table ones, man. I think it's D. I think. I'll go with D. I might be wrong.
Well, James, you are correct. You got it. You got a correct guess this week.
That wasn't fair. That's when you actually have to look up. I was like, usually, because I mean, there's a lot of different conductor sizes in that table that go per foot. I wasn't sure if it was 60 or 80, but being a 3/0, I figured it'd be the higher length. That's why I went with it. So
right, yeah. David has a good myth he wants to bring up, that a breaker is only warranted for one fault trip. So that'd be kind of a good one.
Yeah, we can do any of them.
Yeah.
You know, but I think we already got one for next week. We'll do that in the next week. Because we got one for next week. I gave Bill. I said, "Oh, you want to get on going? This will be a good one."
Oh yeah, dude, it's so much fun. Like I can't believe that we get them all together, like the way we get them together, and it's just so much fun. And I don't know if Daniel's busy or what. I haven't seen anybody popping in for the Willie Quiz, but like I say, my biggest goal is to fool you. You know, so you know what I mean. Like it doesn't matter if like other people show up or not, but you know, like I say, this week I have a really, really super easy one. You just have to study different kinds of records and stuff. So
I actually am pretty good at those kind of things. So we'll see. All right, let's cue you up. I want to see what you got this week.
All right.
That cracks me every time I watch it. That's funny.
Yeah, so we have a really awesome quiz for you tonight. The Willie Quiz. Question number 1. What is the record for the longest time spent without sleep? Is it A, 8 days, B, 11 days, C, 14 days, D, 17 days? Good luck, everyone. So the reason I know that these are so easy is because I was testing them out with a bunch of people around the job site, and so I was getting a lot of really close answers.
I was going with B or C, but since I'm gonna try this. My birthday's 11/11, so I'm gonna go with 11 days. I'm gonna go. I don't think anybody could go 17 days, but 11 or 14. No, I'll go with B.
B, huh? All right, James. Well, I have to tell you that you were correct. It was something like 247 hours and 4 minutes or something. And I guess it was like a 17-year-old that was like doing an experiment or something. But
wow.
Yeah, he broke the Guinness Book of World Records.
I got lucky there. Oh, yeah, I know this
did.
one. I know this one.
In 1976, when Canada hosted the Summer Games, how many Olympic gold medals were won by Canada? A, 0, B, 4, C, 7, D, 10, E, 17. Good luck, everyone. See, I told you this was easy, James.
I don't know if anybody else is guessing, but I can tell you that of all the Olympic Games, now if this had been Winter Games, it wouldn't have been true, but summer is the only time this has ever happened, that a country that hosted the Olympic Games, they got a bunch of silver and bronze, but they did not win one gold medal. So the answer is A.
Oh, James, man, I don't know, man. You and David get it correct tonight. So David Fairchild has an answer of 0 as well over on the Facebook side. So we got 2 correct answers tonight. So.
Oh yeah, I knew that one.
All right, it was. I told you it was easy. All right, what is the record for the most amount of push-ups performed in 24 hours? Is it A, 20,000? Is it B, 30,000? Is it C, 40,000? Or is it D, 50,000? Good luck, everyone.
Okay, I'm going to have to think about this one. Trying to think how many you could actually do in an hour. So I'm going to add this up. So somebody that's really good shape, they could probably looking at.
I don't know, man. I mean, you'd have to take breaks or something. That's a lot. David Fairchild goes with 30,000.
I just added up what I thought could do, and that I was right at 40, just a little over. I'm just doing my calculation what I think could be done in an hour. So 30 to 40 is going to be the answer. Let me flip this one. Grab my coin. I landed on tails, so I got 40,000.
Oh, James, man. Looks like David didn't copy you. And it was good he didn't, because the answer is C, 40,000. So.
Oh, really? That was a guess. I figured 30 to 40, so all right, cool. Well,
yeah, I thought 40,000 was astronomical sounding, but.
Well, I was doing, and I actually did a calculation of what I figured I could do an hour and went with that. So, I know.
All right. All right, which country holds the record for the largest pizza ever made? Is it A, United States, B, Italy, C, Canada, D, Brazil, or E, Greece? Good luck, everyone. All right, right out of the gate, David Fairchild goes A, USA, America.
Yeah, I was watching the Food Channel, and they were doing this thing on different pizzas, all through the country and everything. And actually, the biggest one, they were talking about it, was done in the United States. I don't remember the name of the restaurant, but it was in Los Angeles, where they did the biggest pizza, had the record. I don't remember the size. But I remember them talking about it, and it was in the United States. But I think it was Los Angeles, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, David. King James is copying you with the United States. And you're both wrong. It is just broken recently in Italy.
Really?
Within the last probably few months, I want to say. Or within really recently, Italy just made the biggest one.
Was the biggest one in Los Angeles before that?
Yeah, I think it was the second. And Italy, they just beat it. They just did it in Rome or somewhere. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, they just it was in the news. So I got you both.
So. Okay. Yeah. I didn't know that. Okay.
All right. So what is the length of the record for the longest fingernails ever grown by a single person? Is it A, 17 feet, B, 22 feet, C, 28 feet, or D, 31 feet? Good luck, everyone. It was really funny because like a lot of people do this one at my job site, and it's crazy. I guess they grew them for like 31 years or something. It was crazy, like from like 1970s to like 2009 or something like that.
Yeah, I remember something about this one time. They had it on Discovery or something, and it was I forget. It was like weird something, you know. And they, man, I remember them showing this one, and it was a guy. He had these. Oh man, it was grossly. It looked like freaking little ropes on his hand, you know. And God, I don't remember what the distance was though. I just remember. I think it's like 28, maybe 22, something like that. Let's see, the last one we did.
Yeah, David Fairchild said he's saying it's like plus 32 feet. David Fairchild's going D.
I'm gonna go
30.
C.
28 feet, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I'm really sorry to tell you, James. You are correct. You got it right. It was 28 feet. And I guess he had an accident in 2009 and broke one off. But
really,
yeah, like
I
don't know,
remember
like,
seeing. I was thinking it was 20-something foot. I just took a guess. You know,
we were. Yeah, and David saying it was on Ripley's Believe It or Not. Like, to me personally, it's like, how would you drive? What would you do for a living? Like how would you, to me, it was just like, you know, like, oh, hang on, let me get my fingernails in the car, you know, like, I don't know, man.
I remember watching it, and it looked like freaking ropes. And they had another one where his whole body was tattooed. There was another one, all these freaking piercings. It was just weird shit that was on there. And I was sitting there watching. I was like, how the hell could you even do anything with fingernails like that? But I thought I remember something in the 20 foot. Man, I think the last time I saw that, like, hell, it must have been 5 years ago I saw that. But anyway, well, cool. I got 4 out of 5. Not bad.
Yeah, well, David Fairchild says, you're the man, King James. So, that's pretty funny.
I get lucky.
It's a lot of fun, and yeah, Dave was like, dude, it was gross. Yeah, it was. I remember seeing that, and James, you're right, there was a lot of gross stuff on there they were doing.
Yeah, it had to be 5 years ago. I saw it. It's been a while back, but they were showing all kinds of weird stuff, and people. They showed one guy that literally had bleached all his skin and everything. Oh God, it was gross. I was like, damn. People really that screwed up? I wouldn't do that. But anyway,
True.
All right. Well, cool. 4 out of 5.
All right.
I'm good.
Getting ready for the Wall of Shame.
Let's see what we got this week. Let's cure up.
Shame. 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 Shame.
All right, so this one, I can't remember who this. Oh, from Eater Bartista. I like Bartista, like that.
Bartista. Okay.
But yeah, that's crazy. Like, I mean, somebody has a lot of freaking courage to do that. Like, that is, man, you're just putting yourself on.
It doesn't even look like it's supported anything nowhere. It's just like it's across there and he's pushing it out because I can't see anywhere.
So it's like the legs of it are on the edge of that.
You got the ledge and it's going apart. Screw that.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the poor man's scaffold. Oh man, I don't know about that, man. I'm gonna get a scaffold. I'm gonna rent a Baker scaffold and set it up on there. Like,
hell yeah!
I'm not doing that.
I remember when, God, it's been 20, 5 years ago, we built the house, and we had a staircase that went around, and she wanted this fixture that was up there. But then she also decided she wanted to put this little thing with a canvas that had the crest on it and all this other crap. And I said, well, if you want to do that, we're going to have to scaffold that all the way up. I said, and plus the fixture she had was heavy. We had to go in and I had to go up top, and I had to get it where I had a cable to anchor it down so I could lower it up and down if I ever needed to get up, to work on the fixture. And she was like, that's ridiculous. I can't believe you're doing all. I said, that's because you don't have to work on it.
Yeah. Well, David Fairchild says, send it.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's still going to send it.
I would not do that. There's no way in hell. They ain't pay me enough to work like that.
Not worth it. Really appreciate joining us, David. It's a lot of fun doing these, and like I say, it's pretty fun to just hang out. King James, just give him a little bit of crap, like just kind of tell him, like I've heard rumors from like other educators that they came up with some better material and they're gonna post it up, and it's coming.
Oh, and don't forget, everybody, go check out the YouTube channel. We've been adding. We got a whole bunch of shorts that are getting added on there for the myths and the topics and all of that, and I'll be adding some for some other things as they come out. And I've been taking these videos, breaking them down, posting them to all the groups, different social media. But you've got 2024 myths, you got 2024 topics, you got 2024 tools. You can go in and review all those. I mean, we're just putting all kinds of stuff. I'm breaking all of those down. It's sort of funny because I download and then I'll put it over in the director thing, and then I'll clip everything out, and I just, while they're downloading and everything, which, some of them take an hour, to get them and all that, but we're breaking everything down. So I'm trying to put on about 5 a week. So from all the episodes did. So there's quite a bit we've been adding to the YouTube channel that makes it easier for you to go look. And I've got everything labeled too, so you know exactly what we covered.
Yeah, David says, you guys rock. Awesome. Had a lot of fun. So that's cool, man. Like, that's what we do it for. We just do it to have fun. And like I say, I haven't been really good against the James Stall Cup coin flip guessing game. Like, the coin flip's been really bad to me. So,
it's,
you know what I mean?
90%.
Maybe I need to like set up a rule where like I'll do like the coin flip block or something. So like maybe if I flip tails, then he can't use tails and he has to use the heads answer. But we'll see. I don't know. I'm gonna have to counter the coin flip or something somehow. It's like, it doesn't seem like it's working out too good for me. Dude, I think you're like 90% on coin flips or something.
Yeah, I've only missed like 1 or 2 on the coin flip.
the only one who's better than you at the coin flip's Hillary Clinton. So
yeah.
I don't know, man. I think she's 100%. You're like 97, but like I say, it is a lot of fun doing this, hanging out with you guys, and like I say, I appreciate David joining us. It's a lot of fun, and David, he jumps in over on the Facebook post for like the Nat King Code post, and he kind of sees what we go through. A lot of these guys, and feel free to hit me up too, David, if you have something that you see at work and you are scared to like post it or get people like hating on you. I'll post it up there. I'll go get the hate mail, and me and James will tear it up. We have fun doing it, and it's a lot of fun. I got a lot of hate mail on this one, man. It's pretty funny looking install, and so one of the guys that posted it was like, leave my name out of it. I was like, no problem, man. I was like, it's all good, but it was a lot of fun, and it's a lot of fun to just to challenge all these top code people. And like I say, Russ LeBlanc was like on the fence about it. Russ LeBlanc didn't really know what to say. Tommy D was like, nope, nope, nope. And then David Englehart, Electrical Wizardry, he jumped in. Really awesome having David. And David is, he's a chair member for UL 67, and he didn't think it was too funny. He didn't like me playing devil's advocate, But it was fun to do because, like, in all actuality, a lot of people will say, no, you can't do that. That's a code violation. And then you're like, oh, really? What code? You know what I mean? And so I think the biggest smoking gun saying that you can't use duct seal as a barrier would be the heat aspect from the testing of that equipment, because you could be inducing some sort of heat onto those terminals that were not seen in testing. And I could see that being a consideration for how they identify their barriers for their equipment.
For one, I don't consider it a physical barrier. That's not physical barrier. It's a barrier, something that's over it, in front of it, that
Right.
keeps you away from it. So
True.
all right.
Yeah, and I could see
early night.
Yeah, I could see duct seal having moisture in it, and you probably wouldn't want moisture, in something that's going to be energized.
Great.
So, yeah, but no, I really appreciate David joining. Thanks so much, everyone jumping in. We got all the likes tonight. Thanks so much for smashing that like button. It means a lot. And don't forget to subscribe to the Stalkup Electrical Education channel and check out the learning management system, its development, and like I say, you can be part of the community once we go live here in the next probably 6 weeks, you say?
Oh no, in November.
Oh, you think it's gonna be longer?
Yeah, there's a lot that I'm having to do. We got different things going on with this, and this, and it'll take me till November at least. So.
Right on. Well, we really appreciate it, and like I say, we enjoy doing these every week, and we have a lot of fun. And if you have an idea for Myth of the Week, feel free to message me over in the NAC King Code page, and I will get it dialed up for you. You're gonna have to fight King James this week because he's got a good one for next week. So
yeah, we're doing that one next week.
we'll get it fired up, and like I say, I'll find a picture. And like I say, even if you guys have like pictures you want me to post on Wall of Shame or anywhere else, I have no problem doing it, and we enjoy it, having fun. So
yeah, that's what we're here for. Just have a good time and show y'all everything that's going on. We try to keep updated on everything, and
so look out in the next couple days. I will have a Spotify podcast coming out on the Nat King Code page, and it will be on this topic and show a bunch of different angles from all the different groups and Facebook groups and all the comments, and kind of bring everything together into one. And like I say, James, make sure you make every day an easy day.
Amen. And everybody have a good week and good weekend, and we'll see y'all next week. I'm about to go get something to eat. I'm freaking hungry. So take care, everyone. See y'all next Thursday.